Michael Rennie was ill the day the earth stood still, but he told us where we stand. And Flash Gordon was there in silver underwear. Claude Rains was the invisible man. Then something went wrong for Fay Ray and King Kong. They got caught in a celluloid jam. Then at a deadly pace it came from outer space. And this is how the message ran.
Hi there, Dax here for another Pre-Regan science fiction. I feel I've been remiss on one of my main reasons for starting this show. You see, I want to get people to go out and read a book, read a book! Now at first I tried to do this by being so uninteresting that people would rather shut me off and read a book. But then I realized that there's so much other things to do on the internet, people just switch me off and go to watch a kitten play a piano. Oh, isn't it precious? So I thought, since I have this public forum anyway, I might as well use it to tell people about books worth reading. Now I have an extensive library to choose from, so I'm going to randomly select the last book I finished reading, Clone by Richard Cowper. You might think I'm being easy on myself because I chose the book that I just recently read, but that actually just proves how big an idiot I really am. It's been said many times that the really good and the really bad are the easy things to review. It's the completely mediocre that poses a problem. And this book is average in every way. If I were to explain this book to you, all I'd really need to say is mid-70s science fiction, and I would have literally told you everything you need to know. Well, wait. Part of the point of this show is to enlighten the uninitiated about the world of science fiction. So I imagine there's plenty of you out there who are completely in the dark based on that explanation. So in fact, this book can work as a guide, if you will, to the world of science fiction. 1970s edition. Before we get started on that, I have to mention something that really annoys the crap out of me. This book isn't about clones, it's about test tube babies. The story is that Dr. Miriam Pointer, despite the overpopulation of the world already, decided to artificially create the child of the man with the greatest memory on record and the woman with the greatest memory on record, and then force the zygote to divide twice, creating 4 identical children. They are identical to each other, but they are not clones.
Kill us both, Spock.
That out of the way, it's time to get into what made the 70s what they were. Sex. Now, I'll probably talk about this more when I inevitably do a review of something by Heinlein. But the sexual revolution came and went and imprinted itself on the hearts and minds of the people. Remember in that last book review I did where I had that joke that was totally just a joke, where I was getting a book because it had the warning, its sexual content may be offensive to some. Well, by the mid-70s, it would have been a lot quicker to label all the sci-fi books that didn't include explicit sexual content that may be offensive to some. You see, it became a common belief, if not completely assumed, in the early 70s, that the future would have far greater sexual freedoms than the present.
Co-ed steam rooms. I love the future.
Fry, you're in the women's steam room.
Ah, futuristic.
In this book, when a character in her mid-20s is asked by one of the clones if she's still a virgin, she laughs and replies that she was a slow starter by first having sex when she was 9. We also find out that her grandmother gave her what is essentially a sex bot called an Adonis for her graduation. We are shown that even monasteries in this future are equipped with a sex room called a pornarium.
I trust the orgy pit has been scraped and buttered.
Wow, there's a lot of sex jokes in Futurama. Let's see if I can summon another one. It is suggested, if not stated by the clones, that they will only reach their true potential if they have a group session with the aforementioned non-virgin Cheryl Landridge.
Good, because I've got 20 of them per cubic meter.
That was... ew. Let's not do that again. Actually, in this sexually progressive society, there is still at least one man, the man who raises Alvin, our main character, clone, who describes sex as a sin and teaches Alvin thus.
Ah, today's reckless youth, with your fast roadsters and your rumble seats.
The book also takes a kind of strange stance on alternate sexuality. There's a couple in the book that are in a lesbian marriage, but one member ends up with a creation of her own mind that's half male and half female, and the other ends up with a male ape, despite, or perhaps because, she was traumatized by being raped by an ape when she was younger. No, I didn't misspeak there. I'll explain it later. While the 60s may have left the indelible mark of free love on the face of science fiction, the 70s added its own decade's main motif, that of social commentary and rebellion. The monolithic problem that the vaguely totalitarian government, in Clone, exists to quell is that of overpopulation.
And so it went for generations, although few, if any, seemed to notice.
But the brilliant people of this world went, "Hey, we have too many people and a bunch of menial, high-risk jobs. I know, let's genetically engineer intelligent apes. Hell, we'll give them prosthetic thumbs anyway, making the fact that we're using apes kind of superfluous. That way, we'll have more mouths to feed, less jobs for the people we already have, and a slave class that will rebel against its treatment by humanity."
This is a joke. In very poor taste.
No. Seriously, they're the simians in this book. And besides the obvious problem of creating more people in an already overpopulated world, the fight for simian rights, or even supremacy, is a major theme in it, and exists as a hurdle for our main characters through the first half of the book. Yeah, again, this goes with the whole social rebellion motif of the 70s.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome.